are you somebody who loves to chat on your helmet comms? Or are you somebody who generally chats? Look at this moron. This is Dr. M, and welcome to the biking experience. How many of you have the habit of using a helmet com? Well, I've been using, I use a Cardo right now, Patok Bold, and before this I had a Senna. Well, the question is, how many of you love to chat during your rides? Well, I know, I'm not a very big chatty guy. I like to speak only when it's required. I like to be extremely quiet. I would like to call it radio silence. I don't even listen to music while I'm riding, unless I'm feeling sleepy, of course. So now that I don't really chat while I'm riding, I realize sometimes, you know, we're all paired up and I can actually hear a lot of people chat in the background. I have a friend of mine who rides with us, and he's constantly talking from the minute go to the next stop. 150 kilometers is normally our pit stop, and he's still talking. Oh, he's like that in his real life as well. He has something to say. Well, if he doesn't have anything to say, he finds something to say. Now, this is not just his case on the motorcycle. He's like that on real life too. Chatty. And because of that, he's a harmless guy basically, but then sometimes he gets into trouble. That's because he's opinionated about certain things. He says, hey, this is not the right thing to do. This is not the right fuel to use, buddy. Hey, bro, this is going to take us a very long way off from our regular routine route. I have the best gear. I have the best possible gear that anyone can ever buy. It's cheap, I know. It's the cheap best gear that I have. And he would always find reasons for the topics that he picked up, not even wanting to know if the other person is interested in this conversation. But then most of us are nice, so we just listen to him. Now, there's a problem with being chatty like this. The issue is the amount of energy you have lost while trying to make a point or make a conversation or anything. In Zen, the art of keeping quiet, Gautama Buddha told one of his disciples, who was chatty like this guy, to be quiet for a whole day. But the disciple wanted to up the challenge, and he said, I can be quiet if I wanted to. He was already opinionated about himself, and he was very sure that he could be quiet. So he went and kept himself quiet for a whole day. He achieved it. He came back to Gautama Buddha and said, that's nothing. Give me something more challenging. Then he says, try and keep silent for a whole week. Now this time, you will not open your mouth until you want something, like a glass of water or my breakfast or lunch, unless it's absolutely essential. He did that too. The whole week, he kept quiet without saying any word, only opening his mouth for food, water, bus. And then He says, see, I did it. Then he says, now I want you to go silent for a whole month. This time you will not ask for water, you will not ask for food. He said, you will only write and show what you want. The initial few days he was able to do it, but then the biggest temptation for him was all the people around him were all gaily, happily talking, chatting, eating, and having a great time. You know, some opinions, he wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to pass opinions on certain things. So he was not able to join that group. It hurt him from inside. He felt like throwing up. He was getting very upset. But somehow he pulled through. But in that time, there were a lot of thoughts that were going inside him. A lot of conflicts. Like, why should I go through this? Why should I keep quiet? Why can't I talk? I will make sure I will not get into any kind of trouble from what I speak the next time. He was trying to, justify and break his silence. So he went back to Gautama Buddha again, and he's like, so I did it, but then Buddha asks him, okay, so successfully you've done 1 month. So what happened now? He's like, so I don't want to do this anymore. Why? So because I have so much of voice inside me that tells me, asking me what I should be doing, what I should be saying. Half the time there was a lot of chatter in my mind. Then Gautama Buddha said, okay, what you need to do right now is to take one thing that you want to say, or you want to be a part of a conversation or something. Now this time, don't talk, but think about it. Think about what the issue is and whether your opinion is going to matter there, or if you want to be heard and if you say things to them, what could be the repercussion for it. So this 1 month, every day he would take one topic. One day somebody would say, hey, today the meal was not great. Now he also would have felt that the meal was not great, but this time he didn't say anything. So he sat down quietly and thought about it. He thought about why the meal was not great and what he should do about it. He had his meal, it was not great. Well, it didn't affect him in any way. Well, if it did affect him in any way during his day, what can he do about it? Nothing. Now if he raised it up to the supervisor, now the chef would get fired. The chef is going to be very unhappy. Now there could be thousands of reasons why the meal didn't turn out well that day. Now, he had no control over it. He had no control over the fact that his opinion is going to change anything, because there are a lot of other opinions around, and the chef himself probably knew that the meal was bad and is probably regretting it. So he kept quiet. He didn't express it. But then something happened. Because of this, there was a lot of peace inside him. There was less chatter inside him. He didn't have to think about what the chef would do if he lost his job. He didn't have to think about how bad the next meal that he's going to get is going to be. Maybe they employ a very bad chef, or maybe he does not even get a meal the next day. So all these questions were not there in his mind anymore. Just one thought that he dealt with it. He sat down quietly. He didn't spend any more energy on it than required. Imagine the amount of energy he's going to be spending trying to deal with all the questions in his mind. And then if you were talking, you were not going to be quiet anymore. How amount of energy that he's going to be spending trying to tell everybody, convince everybody, get the chef fired. That's a lot of work. Instead, you have a lot of energy for a lot of things. You could think about your work and how better you could do your work, or how better you could go to gym and work out, or how better you can breathe that day, or how better you can solve somebody's problem. You have energy for a lot of things which are going to be very productive and which are going to help you better your life. So think about it, friends. Try and be quiet. Don't open your mouth unless it's not required. Unless it's required, keep your opinions to yourself. The less you talk, the more the energy you have to do a lot of things. So this Vent Down Wednesdays, I don't vent down. I don't want you to chatter. I don't want you to gossip. I want you to conserve your energy, and you are coming very close to my cornering angle. And have a great day.